reflection. Every night, Emma passed the old hallway mirror on her way to bed, and every night, she'd catch a glimpse of her reflection doing something slightly off. A blink when she didn't blink, a smirk when her lips were still. She chalked it up to being tired. Until tonight, as she turned off the lights and passed the mirror, her reflection didn't follow. It stayed, staring back at her. Suddenly, its fingertips tapped the surface from the inside, like it was testing the barrier between them. Then, slowly, it reached out from inside the glass. Emma screamed, but no sound came out. On the other side of the mirror, her reflection smiled, perfectly still, perfectly silent, and walked away. Emma's hands pressed against cold glass. Trapped forever. The last book. The library was supposed to be closed, but as Naomi walked past its heavy doors that rainy evening, she saw a single light glowing deep inside. Curious, she stepped in. The air was cold and still. On the center table lay a book she'd never seen before. Unmarked, bound in worn leather. She opened it. The pages were blank, until words began to appear. Naomi steps into the library. She opens the book. She reads these words. Her breath quickened. She turned the page. Naomi tries to run, but the doors won't open. She spun around. The doors now gone. Only endless shelves stretching in every direction. The book's last line burned into the paper. She becomes the next story. The wrong number. It started with a text. I'm outside. Lena frowned. Rain tapped softly against the window pane. She peeked through the blinds. Nothing but the empty street and the quiet rustle of trees. She typed back. Wrong number. Another buzz. No, I see you. Her chest tightened. She backed away from the window and locked the front door, then the back. She turned off every light in the house, heart pounding harder with each step. Then her phone rang. No caller ID. The screen pulsed in the dark like a warning. She hesitated, then answered. A distorted voice rasped. Why did you leave me in the well? Lena froze. Her mouth went dry. That was a secret she had buried, just like him 10 years ago. From the hallway came the soft, unmistakable sound of wet footsteps squelching against hardwood. The air grew thick and cold. Her phone slipped from her trembling hand, clattering to the floor. It was the right number after all.
Room for one more. When Sam booked the Old Inn on a road trip detour, the owner hesitated. Only one room left, she said. But it's usually avoided. Tired and amused, Sam took it. Room 6. Nothing strange at first. Just dusty furniture and a creaky bed. At 2:43 a.m., the bathroom light flicked on by itself. He got up to turn it off, only to find the switch already down. Back in bed, he pulled the blanket over his head. Then he heard it. Breathing. Right next to him. He froze. The bed dipped slightly, like someone had just sat beside him. A whisper brushed his ear. I never checked out. Sam ran. Left his bag, his phone, everything. At the front desk, the owner simply nodded. You saw her, didn't you? She said. She always returns at check-in time. The wind knocker. They told Lucy never to answer a knock during windstorms. Not all who knock want to come inside, her grandmother used to whisper. Some just want to be let in. She always laughed it off until tonight. The wind howled like a living thing, rattling the windows and making the trees groan. Then came the knock. 3 soft taps on the front door. She froze. Another knock, this time on the back door. Then one at the side. She looked through the peephole. No one. But the knocking moved, circling the house. Tap, tap, tap. Faster now. Closer. She ran to her room, locked the door, and held her breath. Then, tap, tap, tap. Right behind her. There are no doors in her room. Just the closet. Slightly open. They watch at night. It started with the crows. Every evening at dusk, they gathered on Emily's fence, dozens of them, silent, staring. At first, she found it strange, then unsettling. then terrifying when she realized they were showing up only after she had those dreams. In the dreams, she ran through a forest, chased by glowing eyes and snarling jaws. Something hunted her, but never caught her. Not yet. One morning, she woke to find deep claw marks along her windowsill. That night, the crows returned, but they weren't alone. Cats lined the rooftop. Foxes stood in the yard. A pair of glowing yellow eyes stared from the woods. Emily backed away from the window as the animals slowly turned, all at once, to look directly at her. Then from the darkness, a low voice echoed in her mind. "We remember what you did, and now so do they."
The crawling ones. It started with one beetle on the kitchen counter. James crushed it with a paper towel, thinking nothing of it. But the next morning, there were more. 10, maybe 20, crawling along the baseboards, scuttling into the cracks. He called pest control. They sprayed, reassured him. Yet each night the numbers grew. Hundreds now, spilling from the vents, slipping from under the fridge. James started sleeping in his car. It didn't help. He found one beetle in his mouth when he woke. Frantic, he tore through his home, tearing up floorboards, punching holes in walls. That's what he found it, a massive nest pulsing inside the walls. Thousands of them, waiting. As he backed away, he heard it, a voice thin and whispering from inside the swarm. Home sweet home, and the beetles moved as one. The last light. The city had been abandoned for years. No one knew why. No one asked anymore. Curiosity got the better of Darren. He crossed the cracked roads and toppled streetlights until he reached the center, where the buildings leaned like dying trees. The silence was heavy, almost physical. But at the heart of the city stood one building still lit from within. A single flickering light on the top floor. He shouldn't have gone inside. The air was stale, thick with dust and something worse, something wrong. On the third floor, he found the source, an old, buzzing lamp. Under it, a man sat at a desk, back turned. Perfectly still. Relieved, Darren stepped closer. "Hello?" he called. The man twisted his head around, completely, horribly backward, grinning from ear to ear. The light went out, and the city had one more secret.
The hollow below. They said the cave was bottomless. Mara didn't believe in ghost stories, but when her friends dared her to climb down, she accepted. Just a quick look, then she'd climb back up laughing. The first few steps were easy. Cold air rushed past her like a sigh. 20 feet down, her flashlight flickered. She tapped it. The beam steadied, only now it showed carvings along the walls, twisting symbols, faces, and handprints. Thousands of them, all reaching downward. She told herself not to panic, just climb back up. Then a whisper floated from the dark, "Keep going." When she looked up, the cave entrance had shrunk. Too far, too small. Something was pulling her down, not with hands, but with hunger. Above her, the last light faded. The hollow had found someone new. The man at the window. Every night at 2:13 a.m., Anna woke up to the same thing, a man standing outside her bedroom window. He didn't knock. He didn't move. Just stood there, face hidden in the dark, watching. The police came once. No footprints in the frost. No signs of anyone outside. They told her it was probably stress, lack of sleep. But Anna knew he was real. She started sleeping with the curtains closed, the windows locked, the lights on. It didn't help. One night, she woke to find the curtains pulled open, the window cracked, and the man, no longer outside. He was standing at the foot of her bed, smiling. Missing. They found Ella's car abandoned by the woods, door ajar, key still in the ignition. No sign of her, no footprints. Just a trail of her belongings dropped one by one, leading into the trees. They searched for days. Dogs picked up a scent. then lost it at a clearing where the grass grew strangely flat, like something heavy had pressed it down. All that remained was Ella's phone, lying face up in the center of the clearing. It was still recording. Weeks later, her friends received a group text. Just 2 words, "Found it." No one knew what she meant. No one dared reply. At first, they thought it was a cruel prank, until they started disappearing too. Phones buzzing at midnight. A single message each time. "Found you."
Static. Liam's TV had been broken for years. One night, it flickered on by itself, the screen filled with shifting static. At first, he thought it was a power surge, until he saw shapes forming in the fuzz. Faces pressed against the screen like they were trapped inside, mouths moving in silent screams. He yanked the plug from the wall. The TV stayed on. Then the voices started, whispers coming from the speakers, speaking his name over and over, pleading, laughing. And from the corner of his eye, he saw hands begin to push through the glass. The TV wasn't broken. It was hungry. And it had finally found him.
The other room. When Clara moved into her new apartment, the landlord warned her, "Don't open the door at the end of the hall." She laughed it off. There wasn't even a handle on that door, just a smooth, featureless slab of wood. Still, some nights, Clara heard faint knocking from the other side. Not urgent, just persistent. One evening, curiosity got the better of her. She pressed her ear to the door. A voice whispered from the other side, "We've been waiting for you." The door creaked, shifting open by itself. And from the darkness beyond, cold hands reached out, pulling her inside. The door sealed shut again. Now, sometimes, late at night, the new tenant hears knocking too.
The music box. At a dusty estate sale, Nora found a beautiful old music box, silver, delicate, still playing a haunting melody when wound. She placed it on her nightstand, charmed by its eerie tune. That night, she woke to the sound of it playing by itself. Half asleep, she turned over and saw a shadowy figure sitting at the foot of her bed, humming along. Each night after, it played a little louder. The figure sat a little closer. By the 7th night, Nora wasn't in her bed anymore. The music box sat closed, silent, waiting for someone new to wind it.
The Stone Oracle. Long ago, a village worshipped a stone statue hidden deep in the caves. An oracle said to whisper the future. Only the bravest dared visit it, for the oracle spoke not with words, but with visions carved into the mind. When famine struck, the village sent a girl named Lisa to ask for salvation. She entered the cave alone. The villagers waited days, weeks, until she finally emerged, her eyes blank, her hands bloodied from carving strange symbols into the ground. She spoke only once before collapsing. The oracle is hungry now. And behind her, something ancient began crawling from the cave.
Eight-legged guest. Mara hated spiders, so when she found a huge one in her bathroom, she trapped it under a glass. It tapped at the glass all night, soft and rhythmic, as if trying to get her attention. The next morning, the glass was empty. No cracks. No gaps. Just gone. That night, Mara woke up to a heavy feeling on her chest. Frozen with fear, she looked down. 8 black legs curled around her ribs, holding her tight, like it had been waiting for her to wake up. And when she tried to scream, something scuttled into her mouth.
The Fear Menu. The restaurant was hidden in an alley, lit only by a flickering red lantern. Inside, the maitre d' greeted Isaac without a word, handing him a single-page menu. There were no dish names, just feelings, loneliness, regret, despair, and at the very bottom, terror. He laughed it off and pointed at Terror, thinking it was a gimmick. The waiter smiled thinly and disappeared into the kitchen. Moments later, the lights dimmed. The walls seemed to breathe. And from the shadows, a figure from Isaac's worst memory stepped into view, someone he thought was long dead, someone he had left behind. The air grew thick with the smell of earth and decay. Isaac tried to leave, but the door was gone. At this restaurant, you don't eat your fear. It eats you. When the rain came, it had been dry for months. Cracks split the earth, the rivers turned to dust. So when the rain finally came, the village danced in the streets, laughing as the first drops fell. But the rain didn't stop. It poured through the night, drowning crops, swallowing roads. In the morning, strange puddles reflected not the sky, but unfamiliar, shifting faces. One by one, villagers who looked into the puddles disappeared, their reflections rippling with silent smiles. Now the village is silent. Only the rain remains, falling endlessly over empty streets, and the faces waiting in the water.